What's up, gentlemen? This is Rising Phoenix Podcast, the podcast about how to rise up after your divorce. I'm your host, Michael Rhodes. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I was going to do hello Aaron, how are you, sir? An episode, Justin Delahanty. That was the plan a couple weeks ago, and then his schedule got screwed up. So, hey Adam, how are you, sir? So I was going to push it out to this date and time, but then we never worked it out in terms of scheduling, and so I thought, well, it's we're a few days from the second anniversary of this thing. So last year I did sort of a celebratory broadcast. I don't remember if I did it live. Honestly, I think I did, but I'm not sure. So I thought I would do it tonight. I can't do it Thanksgiving. I'll have my children's, which would be the actual anniversary. So I just thought I would do it this evening. So there's a few things I'm going to cover tonight. Certainly. Hey, Will, fucking A. Good to see you, my friend. There's a couple things I'm going to cover that I've been sort of that I want to cover in terms of the podcast. Some information, some stats, and things of that nature. I'm not going to give too much because I want to wait till the end of the year to really sort of unveil how well it seems to be doing. Well, it's all a relative thing, right? Well, to me, is probably piss poor to Joe Rogan, right? I don't have those kinds of numbers, but I'm okay with that because I started from zero. So let's talk about, let me find my browser. I want to cover how many different countries and cities this podcast has been listened in, because I think that's a pretty fucking cool thing. So let me go to stats and locations and all episodes. Takes a moment to update because there's a lot, which is weird, but awesome. Some of these honestly have no fucking clue how people find this. So since the beginning of this endeavor, this podcast has been heard in 97 different countries. I can't even fucking wrap my head around that. I didn't know there were 97 countries. I want to be honest with you. So obviously the bulk of that is the United States of America. That's 79% of my listens come from the States. There are some one-offs here and there. Let's see what the lowest number is. There's a lot of one listens. I don't know which episode. Taiwan, Croatia, Jordan, Morocco, Bahamas, Panama, Ethiopia, Venezuela, Costa Rica, Fiji. I could go on and on. So there's a lot of one-offs. Bahrain, Estonia, Chile, Mali, Austria, and then there's some two episode listens, and I won't list all those. There's only a couple of those actually, and then 3 and on and on and on. So Russia, Peru, Thailand, Greece, Turkey, North Macedonia, Qatar, however the fuck you say that. And then it's starting to get up in terms of numbers a little bit. Brazil, there's 20 listens. Kenya, 20 listens. Egypt, 28. Pakistan, 49 listens. Like, how the fuck did that happen? Finland, 98. South Africa, 103. Sweden, 128. Australia coming in hot. My Australian brothers, my Alpha Code brothers, I assume have something to do with 1,767 listens have taken place in Australia. So that's the number of countries. And I think I can drill down and to the cities. I'm pretty sure that data is in here. Yes. So I'm gonna go here, see all cities. Again, another to me, just pretty fucking mind-blowing. This podcast has been listened to in 3,355 cities across the world. That's fucking weird. Thanks, Will. I appreciate that, my friend. Toronto, Ontario leads the way with 652 listens. I don't know why now it's being weird. No, don't close. My app is not liking all of this data. Let me open it back up. So Toronto leads the way, as I said, and then maybe I'll do the top 5. So Philadelphia, Seattle, Washington, Houston, Texas, and Sydney, Australia. Let's see, that's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the top 5. It's so many fucking cities that my phone is not liking me right now because I want to look at all of them, and it's like it's fucking it up. It keeps crashing I don't know if you can see that, but it's saying Chrome isn't responding. So I can't drill down too much. But that's I mean, it's pretty fucking crazy, really. I didn't set out for any of that. I set out to help as best as I could, right? And I feel like we're accomplishing that. But and I say we because if it wasn't for those 79 countries or whatever the fuck it was, is that what I say, 97 countries, whatever it was, if it wasn't for you guys, those people out there, those would be listening right now. If it wasn't for you listening and continuing to listen and reaching out and commenting and supporting in some cases, it would just be me talking to myself. So there are moments where I question, and this isn't to, no one has to tell me, this isn't a solicitation for you to tell me, but I sometimes wonder, am I doing any fucking good? Am I helping? And I ask myself that question largely because of what occurs in this particular group on occasion. And what occurs is all the shit that I wish wouldn't. Misogyny, women bashing, which I guess is the same thing, finger pointing, shirking responsibility, the don't be a bitch, man up stuff. There's less of that because I've made it a point to get rid of that, but it still creeps in because we have, I don't know, 20 to 40 men. They don't get through every day because sometimes there's a backlog, but I think I've tried to do things to set the tone, but it's hard. It's hard to police this place sometimes, and because largely it's so much easier to point your finger at somebody else rather than take responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean you're solely responsible, but you are solely responsible for yourself going forward. And a lot of times that gets missed in here, unfortunately. I think what occurs is some folks want to tell you how shitty women are, and that makes you feel better about yourself. And that's just so cheap and fake and phony to me, and that's just not who I am. And so I don't want it in here, but it's hard to not it's hard to weed it out sometimes. And it's in here sometimes in subtle ways, right? People don't come out and say it, but they'll make little jokes and things of that nature. And I don't know how much of that is intentional or not, in terms of trying to be covertly misogynistic or just slightly to stay under the radar. But it still fosters this women are shitty. And we seen this a few weeks ago, in particular, when there was this viral video that was going around of this woman, which the part of me wanted to play that clip for this episode, but I think a lot of you have seen it. If you haven't, it's some kind of cute, kind of hot chick saying that women are failing because they're leaving relationships. And she calls out one stat, which is correct. She said 70 to 80% of marriages are ending due to women filing. That is correct. And she says, but I think we can apply that to relationships too. That's not data. That's your opinion. It could be true. I don't know that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. That fact means nothing. And I want to cover a couple of things around this topic. So it is true that the stats say that more women are leaving divorces, but there's a lot of nuance to that data that we don't know. And so focusing on that number is really kind of silly. And I'll tell you why for a few reasons. I want to get into some other types of data, but I want to break this down first. And this is something I talk about on a few live videos, and I find it pretty eye-opening. So we're going to take a simple round number of 10 marriages. I'm a simple fellow. We'll go with simple numbers. We're going to go with 10. Right. So 10 marriages, 10 people, 10 couples get married. 5 of them are going to get divorced. Right. So now we have 5 failed marriages. So if the numbers are correct, and I think they are, some numbers say 69%, some say 80%. We can call it 80%. So 5 marriages, 80% of those marriages are because of women filed. Right. So that's 4 marriages. Right. So 4 out of 10, 40% have failed because women chose to end the marriage. Now, I'm going to get into some stats in a few minutes here that kind of point out that some men suck. So at least one of those marriages you got to give me was because the guy was a giant fucking douchebag and deserved to be left. So that's 3. We're down to 30% of marriages are because women filed or women left for whatever reason. So that's 30%. In some cases, 30% is a good number, right? If you're in baseball and you're in the major leagues, 30% of the time you get a hit, you're pretty good. If you're a doctor and you're going through, or you're trying to be a doctor and you're going through medical school, if you get 30% on your tests, you're a fucking moron and you're not going to be a doctor. So we're focusing on a problem that is not even close to half, right? We're talking about 30%. I feel a little bit like Allen Iverson there. We're talking about 30%. And the problem, and that, again, there's nuance to that number, and there's guys in here that filed, but she cheated. I mean, there's just so much. You can look at larger numbers. I think that's a good thing, but there is so much individuality to these situations that it's impossible to really parse it out. You have your experience. And the problem is in here in particular, this is where a lot of men come who've been lied to and been cheated on and been left, and it has been filed. And we'll have a guy post a story about how that's what happened to him. And someone else will go, me too, all these women. And it's like 30%. 30%. So I don't understand sometimes why, and I get it. I do understand. It's the comfort in it's not my fault, bro. It's these women. It's all of them. All of them. Now, if you know all women and you've had a chance to talk to all of them, could you please let me know how you did that? Because there are about 4 billion of them on the fucking planet. And so this chick who did this video, she's clearly not one of them. She's telling you how shitty women are, so she can't be a shitty woman, right? So there's one. Well, then your theory is a house of fucking cards. So, and this isn't saying that there aren't shitty women. Of fucking course there's shitty women. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many there are, if there are. What matters is you, because you're the one who has to live with a shitty woman should you find one. If you're in a relationship with one and people are saying, oh, my ex was a narcissist, then leave. Set boundaries. Get yourself out of situations that aren't healthy. That's on you. Yes, she's shitty. Fair point. Mine was too. But I chose to stay. I chose to stay in the beginning when there were red fucking flags galore, like it was a fucking carnival. But I stayed. I chose. I allowed. I perpetrated. I did that. Now, does that mean that she was in the wrong? Of course it does. But if you allow it, then you're a part of the problem. And I know easier said than done, but why this is important is because going forward, you're not in a marriage. You have the ability to stop shit before it gets too far along. And you can't do that if all you're going to do is point fingers. Because if you don't know how to set a boundary or to stand up for yourself or to notice a red flag when it appears, if you can't do these things, then it's on you. So that's why it's so important to take the time to learn about you, about boundaries, about love languages, about attachment styles, so you can stop having shitty relationships. If you're in a shitty relationship, you're part of the fucking problem. I was too. I'm not on a high horse here. But when we come in here and all we do is bitch about women, how are we helping? Now, I get that there is a moment in time where that is helpful. But I always think of this place and its purpose to be two reasons. Number one is to make sure that men don't kill themselves. And that man is typically wanting and longing for his ex, right? And so telling him that all women suck, it's not very hopeful, I don't believe. I do understand why you're angry and why I was angry. The fuck sucked. Sometimes I'm still angry. I mean, but I'm not sure how telling him that all women sucks. Thanks, Howard. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you very much. I'm not sure how telling them that all women sucks keeps them from killing themselves. Where is the hope in that? If we focus on only the failings of women, and there are failings, of course there's humans, of course there's failings of women. If we focus on that, how does that help us moving forward? As I said the other day in here, anytime you're worried about what she's doing, I want you to ask yourself, what does that have to do with my journey going forward? And if you can't answer that in a way that makes some kind of fucking sense, then you're focused on the wrong thing. Because you can control you and only you. And becoming a better human, a man, person, whatever, father, eventually perhaps partner, is the only thing you have control over. So if I can't control what my ex is doing, how the fuck am I going to control the entire society of women? And so therefore, if I can't, why the fuck am I worried about it? It's like me walking around all day going, fuck, I can't get to Mars. God damn it. How am I going to get to Mars? It's fucking impossible to get to Mars. This is bullshit. I want to get to Mars. What fucking worth does that have in my life? Zero. And the same is true of coming in here and completely and constantly bitching about women. Worry about you, man. That's the only hope in your life is you, period. So I want to go back a little bit. And I understand that it perhaps seems like I'm shitting on men, but it's not the case. I'm a man. I want us to be and do better. And we can't do that if we're focused on stupid fucking TikTok videos from some smoking hot chick about how all women suck. Well, she's a woman, so it can't be all now, can it? So, but let's talk about, what do I want to talk about first? We want to talk about cheating first or domestic violence. Which one? Well, because cheating's on the top, I'm going to go with that one. I don't remember what website I got this from, and it seems like the data is a bit old, as in 2018, I believe. But the information from the site, the data that it mined, comes from the General Social Survey that was conducted between 2010 and 2016. So I think it was all, diced and sliced and cut up and whatnot and analyzed. And in 2018, it put some reports out. So this report says that men are more likely than women to cheat. 20% of men, 13% of women. Now, I will say that there is some caveat to that. And by the way, if you really want to think about this too, 20% isn't a fucking lot either. So again, not all men suck, not all women suck. But to say that it's solely women, you're just not paying the fuck attention. You don't want to hear that because it's easier to hear that women suck. And thus, it's not your fault, bro. You understand what I'm saying? No accountability, no ownership, no being a man, if you ask me. So, as I said, there are some discrepancies or differences in when you drill down and look at age groups. So women actually cheat more, according to this survey, between the ages of 18 to 29. 11% of women cheat at that age, in that age demographic, and 10% of men. So it's a 1% bump. As it increases, it flips. So it says trend data going back to the 1990s suggests that men have always been more likely than women to cheat. Even so, older men were no more likely to cheat than their younger peers in the past. And there's also data about, of course, yes, they do. Sorry, I'm reading a comment. It matters. Their demographics matter about your age group. So when you were born, so if you're born earlier, obviously that 18 to 29, but also it's a generational thing where I think cheating is more accepted now than it used to be. And that sucks and whatever. But again, I can't control everybody. I can only control me. Let's see. Between 2000 and 2009, the highest rate of infidelity shifted to men ages 60 to 69. 29% of men ages 60 to 69 cheated. Women aged 50 to 59 jumped to 17%. So if you're between 60 and 69, you're more than likely to cheat throughout your life if you're in that age demographic. And for women, it's 50 to 59, which I find fucking fascinating and slightly weird. Here's another little tidbit from this general social survey. Again, I can't remember what website. I can look it up, but I don't fucking feel like it. But if you really want to know, I can put it in the show notes. Men who cheated are more likely than their female peers to be married. Among men who have cheated on their spouse, 61% are currently married, while 34% are divorced or separated. You can't cheat if you're divorced or separated. So I don't know what the fuck that means, unless that means they're divorced and they're with someone else and they cheated. I'm not sure. However, only 44% of women who have cheated before are currently married. So 61% of men and 44% of women. So again, if you want to talk about facts and figures or who's doing what, quite frankly, I don't give two fucking shits about this data because I'm not going to be a cheater. And if I'm with a cheater, she's fucking gone because I have enough fucking self-worth to say, nah, not here, Jack. You understand what I'm saying? So these numbers don't really fucking matter to me, but I want to make a fucking point that men are not infallible. We fuck up too. It's just that this place has become an echo chamber of how we can bitch about women. But here's let's go on to domestic violence. And this is a more serious one. And if you feel compelled, dive into these facts and figures on your own and look at them yourself. I'm sure people will say, oh, I'm cherry picking and all that. So let's talk domestic violence, because again, this is something that's, I think, important and provides context sometimes to things that occur. Again, this doesn't mean all men suck. It doesn't mean you suck. You might, I don't know. I'm just trying to provide a little fucking clarity to this notion that we're all getting fucked by women. Nonsense. Some of us, a lot of us in here. So 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 9 men. That doesn't mean that men don't, clearly. 1 in 9 is not 0. But it's clear that according to this, and I don't remember where this data came from. Again, I can provide the information if you're so interested. I can definitely provide it. I just did a search, and whatever was the first website that came up that seemed reputable, but I don't remember the website. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical violence. So that is different. I find that interesting because that is different than partner. That's just physical violence. So that's, I'm sorry, by an intimate partner in their lifetime. So what's the difference between that first one and this second one? I'm not sure. So I don't know why there are 2 different numbers there. Oh, severe. Okay, well, no, wait. I don't know. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate physical violence, intimate partner contact, sexual violence, and or intimate partner. Oh, okay. So So 1 in 9, it's more like stalking. It's more stuff. It's not just physical violence. It's sexual violence and it's stalking. 1 in 7 is just physical violence. So 1 in 4 men, or 1 in 4 women, 1 in 4, Jesus Christ, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men experience severe physical violence from a partner. The other one is all encompassing. 1 in here, this one is I find interesting too. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 18 men have been stalked by an intimate partner. Now I got to tell you guys, I see this shit in here a lot. Not necessarily to the extreme of stalking per se, but I see a lot of guys like constantly, not constantly. I don't want to be dramatic. I tend to be dramatic. I see sometimes I feel like I see a lot of, I checked her social media, and now I know that that's not stalking, but there's some stalking tendencies there. But again, this is anecdotal shit. I'm not pulling that out and running with it. Just anecdotal. I see sometimes in here guys mentioning how they can't stay away from her social media. Again, that is not stalking in a legal sense, but it's perhaps could be an indication that occurs more with men. Now, you could be sitting here and saying there could be 5 of you in this group right now saying, well, wow, she stalked me. Could be. And you could be one of those 18 men. It is possible. I just thought it was an interesting fact. Another one that I found interesting, on a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. That doesn't break it down by gender. That's a lot of fucking people. Intimate partner violence accounts for 15% of all violent crime. Seems low, but I mean, I don't want it to be high. I'm just saying 15% seems like a low number, but if you're looking at, I don't know how many different types of cases a year or whatever, 15% of a million, that's a big fucking number. I don't know what the number is, though. It probably breaks it down here somewhere. I was just looking for some highlights. Women between the ages of 18 to 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner. So I think that the abuse typically occurs earlier because some 18 to 24-year-olds are fucking large babies walking around in men's bodies. I know I was. So I'm not surprised by that stat. And I'll close this topic out. And if you guys have any questions about anything, things you're struggling with, things of that nature, I know this was sort of an impromptu out of nowhere. I am going to do a shot to celebrate the 2 years of this podcast. The end of the year, I will do an end of the year wrap up and provide more numbers in terms of followers on the various podcast networks, Apple, Spotify, and Google. And I'll provide the numbers for this year, and they're all really fucking awesome. But we're not quite there yet. So the last stat for all of this, and I think it's a pretty sobering one, says that 72% of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner. 72% of murder-suicides is a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend type of situation. Here's the sobering statistic and why orders of protection are easy to get. And I don't disagree with that. 94% of the victims of these murder-suicides are female. Now, I don't know what the bare number is there. I usually like to break things down and say that's 10 women a day who are being killed, and then their partner kills themselves. I don't know what the number is, but I know whatever it is, 94% of it, or the number that it makes up, that being 94% is really fucking high. And I want you to sit just a minute. Well, not a minute, that'd be too fucking long. Just take 10 seconds and just think about that, especially those of you that have daughters or maybe cousins or mothers. You have females in your life that aren't her. And imagine that she gets in a shitty relationship and she's killed, and then he kills himself. That number's not okay. But that number doesn't mean that all of you are like that or are capable of that or will do that or Have you ever even considered that? It just goes to my point that sometimes, gentlemen, men suck. Sometimes we fail spectacularly. And I, for one, don't want to see that anymore. And so it would be nice in this group, Divorce Support for Men, if we would be more focused on how to move forward, how to work on ourselves, how to know what our attachment style is and how to handle that, how to know what our love language is and how do we express and feel that, how to know what our issues are, how to know how to communicate better so that we can be better men, fathers, eventually partners, and stop this cycle that we see in here. I'm working with a gentleman now. I'm not going to say his name, but he's on his second divorce. I don't want anyone to go through this, period. And I sure as fuck don't want anyone to go through it again for one simple reason. The numbers for male suicide are really fucking high. And when you factor in divorce, they're not so pretty either. And I've said this number many times, and I don't know that it has changed, but 38 divorced men a day kill themselves. It's even more, I believe it's dipped down to 99 or 94 for men in general. Every single day. And I think we have to ask ourselves why. Is it because we're a bunch of pussies? We just recently lost a member who was a veteran of the United States Air Force. Was he a pussy? Was he not man enough? Or was he so tied down by the expectations of society, the expectations that sometimes in here are fed to us, that you can't cry, that you have to toughen up, and more importantly, you have to hate. You have to be angry. You have to be mean. Fuck everybody. Fuck them women especially. I just don't think that's the way for us to go forward. I don't think that prevents one single fucking suicide. I don't. And so I was saying earlier, and I don't think I finished my point, the purpose of this group is twofold. One, to make sure that men don't kill themselves, particularly, obviously, men that are going through divorce. And two, to become better because of this unasked for, shitty, painful opportunity to grow, to be a more whole human, to be able to experience but still control our emotions, to give support and love to people going through the same thing. Anytime you post in here, I want you to ask yourself if you, from the beginning of your journey, the one perhaps that was suicidal, I know that I was, if you would want to see that post, if you would think that post would be helpful to you when you were in the beginning of your journey. If not, don't fucking post it. Please be better in here, gentlemen. Now, we have some good things happening in here. We have Thankful Thursday, which I try to remember every Thursday to post. I've been fairly good with it. But listen, pick up the fucking mantle, gentlemen. I don't need to lead every single day in every single way. Family Friday is a thing we tried to start. I shouldn't say tried to start. We have started. Sometimes I forget to post that. Pick up the mantle. It's Friday. Post a Family Friday post. We also we're doing Wednesday, which is Mike C reached out and asked if he could do that. Wonderful. Love it. We need more of it. We need to stop bitching and start doing. We need to stop complaining, start working. Now, and I think maybe I'll wrap up with this and see if there's any questions. I'm not saying that everyone in here is like this, but I posted the other day about stop worrying about what she's doing. And at one point I looked at that post, I think fairly inspirational, get you to move forward, get you thinking about different ways of handling this. And it was seen 300 and some odd times, and it had 30 some likes. Now, I don't know that seen 300 times means that someone stopped and read it 300 times. Someone, 300 different people. Maybe they just scrolled and Facebook counts that. I don't fucking know. But that's a awfully low percentage for a pretty fucking positive post. And so, are you contributing to the positivity and the growth in this place or not? If all you're posting is comments about how much women suck, either change or go away. I can't be any clearer. So let me see if there's any questions, comments, bitches, gripes, complaints. Eddie, I hope you found the ability to get into the group. Let's see. You grabbed her old phone and that's stalking. You're gonna have to give me some more context there, Bill. I don't know what you mean. Well, thank you, Sean. I really, truly appreciate that. You were one of the ones that you're a template for why this place is here. You were very distraught. I was very concerned, as were a few people here. We were worried for you, and we all took action. I wish that we would keep that spirit every single day. We don't, unfortunately, but and some days are great in here. And I realize that, we get new people in every single day, and we're pushing. I am pushing back against. Oh yeah, going through. Sorry. Let me finish that point. Sorry, I get a squirrel. A flood of men who are conditioned to be a certain way, and I realize that, and it's my burden to bear. But sometimes, the flood of posts of a certain nature in here drive me fucking crazy. So sometimes it gets the best of me. Going through her old phone looking for old messages is electronic stalking. Well, don't do that then. I mean, there's nothing to be gained from snooping and looking and trying to confirm what you already know. Our guts tell us. I really believe one of the things that has been essential to my growth and is essential to all of our growth is listening to your body, and listening to your gut is one of them. Oh, Jared, how are you, sir? Oh, have you seen? And then I don't see. You guys can. I mean, I don't know if that's a post I would need to delete, perhaps. And I always struggle with this, like shutting shit down and letting guys talk. I had someone the other day say, I can't. I have to let other points of view in here. No, I don't. Actually, I don't. I run this group. And if I don't want something in here, it's not going to be in here. It's pretty fucking simple. Still vertical. That's your standard answer, and I love it. It's good to see it, Jared. Jared runs our meetings on Friday nights. I really should probably be better at creating events to remind folks that we have meetings in the Discord twice a week. So anyway, let me read your comment, Jared. There's some people in here I look forward to seeing their live videos, the good and the bad. I know it isn't always easy to put yourself out there. Oh, you son of a bitch, Facebook. There are people paying attention, you gentlemen that touch lives. Well, I think that's true. forget which podcast I heard this. The underlying emotion of anger is fear. Once I understood that concept, I was able to dive into the complexity of those layers. You have a tremendous library of knowledge. You just got to do the work. Yeah, well, that's true. I don't know, honestly, which that might have been the anger one. I did that with my my old therapist. Well, and it's a weird thing to like try and lead this place and lead man, and I want to save everybody. I want to fix everybody. I want everyone to be better and to work on themselves. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Why do I don't know. Why do I fucking I don't know, like watermelon? I don't know, because fucking tastes good. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's just certain things that I don't know why. I can assure you that if I was doing anything for anything other than just sheer desire, I would do it differently. Like I would come in here and tell you all that it's not your fault. And those are the posts that go viral, or the ones that tell you that it's not your fault, it's someone else's fault. So I mean, people like you, Adam, and Albert, and those of you that are watching, I mean, there aren't a lot of you watching right now, and that's okay. There wasn't much of an announcements. How you doing, Scott? But sometimes it is disheartening to, and how do I reach more? How do I? And it's a weird thing because it's not an ego thing. It really isn't. It's not an ego thing. But I wish more people would just listen to the podcast. Like those numbers are awesome, but there are 6,000 men in here. I don't have 6,000 downloads a day, or I was going to wait till the end of the year to talk any kind of numbers, but not because I'm hiding them. I want to wait till the end of the year. But I'll say that I've never had more than 260, I think, in one day. The average is probably in the 80s, I would guess. I'm just completely guessing. Obviously, there are spikes when I release a new episode. There was 101 yesterday, and I think there's more than 100 already today. But I don't obsess like I used to. But there's so many men in here, and it's like, why wouldn't you not? Like, I think that the podcast, and it's never comfortable for me personally to say things that are positive about what I do, but I think the podcast is a fucking life preserver. And why aren't people grabbing it? I don't understand. It's just put on a fucking pair of headphones and take a walk and listen to anything that any title that piques your interest. And how many I don't know what, sometimes I wonder, is that Scott, to your comment, is that I know I forget that some people are probably going to listen to this and not watch the playback, but you said you have guys that have been here a while that they never hear the podcast. I don't know either. Facebook algorithms, perhaps. I'm not a marketing machine by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know. I'm baffled by. I don't know how it works, and I'm not. It's a weird thing because I want people to hear it, but I don't want to. It's not about promoting myself. I don't know. It's very weird. Well, that's really sweet, Adam. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think it is that, God, it is for me, man. I mean, I'm just a dude, but I'm a curious dude, and I just find smart people and ask them questions, and I do these things, and I get so much like information and like different ways to think about it, or it just it helps me, I wish I was a little bit better about promoting it in some kind of way, but I don't know how to do that. That doesn't feel weird. You've been in Bill, and I read your comments. You've been in mindfuck mode for the last year. I'm just getting to the point that I can listen to the podcast. I love you, man, but my mind space is out of whack. Yeah, I can't say I understand that comment, Bill. I'm not, I don't want to, I'm not attacking you. I appreciate the comment. I mean, you have some headphones and some earbuds, put it in and take a, I was gonna say take a drive, but don't do that with headphones. Take a walk. I know it's getting cold, so fuck a walk, but take a drive and put it on. There is so much knowledge that can be gained from this podcast that and I know that's like, I'm telling you guys that this thing has helped me, so it will help you. It's with really smart people to tell you how to deal with these things. It's information. I think it's practical. I'm nobody special, man. I try to break it down as simplistically as I can to help me fucking. Yeah, I guess I don't. Again, I'm not bashing you, Bill. And no offense is meant. I hope you don't take any. It's certainly not the case. I mean, initially, I suppose, I wouldn't have been in the headspace, perhaps, but I don't know, man. I was trying anything I could do. A lot of it, the wrong shit, right? Drinking and fucking and just all the wrong shit. But I was trying it, So I don't, I don't understand the, I don't even know how to describe it, because I want to be careful, because I'm not trying to bash you. I don't understand. Here's something that can help. Well, I can't deal with that right now, but I don't. Are you doing okay? No. Maybe try this. I just don't know. Scott, you said something. Yeah, and I get that. Listen, attention span's a thing. But there's a rewind button, brother. I don't mean that to sound flippant, but I don't know about you, but when I read, I get to the end of a page, I'm like, what the fuck did I just read? And I go back and I read it again. You will get as you will heal and improve as much as you put in the effort. And sometimes that means rewinding 30 seconds to listen to what a neuroscientist just said. That's the work. That's the work. Amongst other things, that's the work. So I'm going to do a shot of Jägermeister to commemorate this 2-year anniversary. I will probably edit this podcast episode. There's not much editing involved in solo episodes. I think I coughed once or twice in this particular episode. I really don't fucking care about taking it out at this point. I used to be super anal about that shit, but I ain't got time to be anal about it. Got to be honest with you. So if you're hearing my coughs, I apologize. I think I coughed once, but maybe I didn't. Oh, but here's the bottle, by the way. Do you think I'm lying? I was going to do a shot of Fireball, because that's what I did when I released the first episode. And when I commemorated the first anniversary. But I'm all out of Fireball. Hey, Jean-Claude. I think, did you reach out to me today? Somebody reached out to me today and said about editing. Was that you, Jean-Claude? No, it was Brian. Never mind. I'll get back. Brian, I don't know if you're probably not watching, but all right. Well, listen, if you guys thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. If you guys got something, pour it. I'd love to do this with you guys as well. I know sometimes that this journey is hard. I'm on it. I've been on it for 3 years, and you just got to keep fighting, man. And sometimes that fighting means rewinding a podcast and listening to the last 30 seconds because your mind drifted. Sometimes that fighting is crying and telling people that you're crying and you're devastated. And sometimes that fighting is making sure you go see a therapist. Sometimes that fighting is doing a live video and talking about shit that you're ashamed of. Sometimes that fighting is reading a book. Oh, that's cool. You're a physician. Oh, that's cool. Huh. Well, if I ever got any weird growths, you're going to get pictures, bro. So sorry. You put it out there. I'm going to use it. John, how are you, sir? Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I know maybe sometimes it seems like I don't appreciate you guys, but I do. I guess I just want to fix everybody, and sometimes it feels like I'm not, or I'm failing, or again, it's not an ego thing, but there are 65 or 6,600 people in here, and my podcast doesn't reflect that. And again, that's not for ego purposes. I know, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I probably need to learn more about. I teeter on this annoying versus persistent. I've always felt like I've been a good salesman in my career because I teeter that line, and I don't want to be annoying. But I think unfortunately, so it will be annoying to you, those of you that are follow me and you get notifications when I go live. And so, do you want to be notified like 3 times a day or whatever? And then that's going to cause them to maybe get notified the next day or whatever. So I purchased a class recently about marketing. It's just like a series of videos, and it's like a self directed course or whatever. But it's true. I mean, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the fucking imagination. And that's something I could focus on and figure out. How do I do that? How do I get my name out there? I don't know. I mean, there's obviously, you can buy ads and that kind of stuff, but I don't know. There's definitely a fear. Around, I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's my paranoia. So there's my challenge, right? One of my challenges is to navigate all of this. My comfort. I don't I don't want to push me. I want to help people. Does that make any sense? You know what I mean? Oh, thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. I really do. I mean, thank you for helping out. Man, there's so many of you that are involved, that are supportive and helped and give back. And man, fucking Scott and Jared and Justin, all 3 of you, and I'm sure there are others, but you 3 are you're why I do what I do, and I couldn't do it without you, honestly. I mean, you guys, 2 of you guys run the meetings, and Scott is a constant positive force in this group in particular. He's such a man. Scott, I told you the other day. I really can't put it to words, to be honest with you. I don't know how to describe it, or how to. Those of you that Scott and you guys, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for you guys. If I never got any feedback, I wouldn't do this at all. Never. Hey, Ryan, there's another good one. Ryan's a good guy. Good to see you, Ryan. I know you can't do a shot because you're driving, but we're about to do one. Apparently I like to talk. and I haven't gotten to the shot part yet, but I will. Jean-Claude, no, I've never talked to anyone about marketing. I mean, no, I haven't. I've never really done ads. I ran 2 ads, I think, one on Google and one on Facebook, like pretty early on in the podcast, but I haven't done ads or anything since. But I probably should. But I'll get, I think it's one of those things that I'm trying to figure out, what am I advertising? Part of the problem for me was I'm doing all these different things and I need to coalesce it. And I think you've seen that lately. I've really tried to put everything on the coaching website, and that feels a little funky to me, but like I'm doing that. So I want to do and I'm doing all these other things. And so I just put it all there. And so if you go to the Rising Phoenix Divorce Coach, you'll see links to the Discord. You'll see links to the local groups. You'll see links to the website. You'll see links to the podcast. So I think I'm getting better at coalescing. Like I used to say all the time, like I need a hub, like a centralized location to send people, and not just to buy a coaching program, but like I'm doing all this other shit too. Like you don't have to spend a fucking dime if you want help. Listen to the podcast. That shit's free. Now, if you want to send me money, I'll happily take it, because sometimes shit gets expensive. Like as the new year rolls around, I got to re-up on all of the software and the shit that I use. Zoom is I got to pay for that. Otter, which does the transcripts, I got to pay for that. The fuck else do I got to pay for? Oh, the editing software, I got to pay for that. So there's always some shit that comes up too that I forget about it. But anyway, listen, I'm talking, and as much as I like to talk, I also want to celebrate. So I thank all of you sincerely. I hope more of you get involved and stay involved. I see way too many men disappear, and I really wish that wouldn't happen. If nothing else, hopefully the local groups will start to grow and people can stay engaged in that way. Oh, fuck yeah. Both of you. So Jean-Claude, I don't know what that means, but where you would put ads, but I'm interested in anything, any information I can get. But anyway, Sean, anytime you want to reach out and give me any pointers, and that goes to anybody, feel free to reach out. Again, I thank you all. I think I will do this again with Justin. We just haven't been able to work it out in terms of scheduling, and I'm sure that we will. Just a matter of time. So here's to you. There's to 2 years of Rising Phoenix Podcast. Cheers. I haven't done a shot of Jaeger in quite a long time. You're welcome, Bill. Thank you. Again, if I got 0 feedback, I wouldn't do this, All right, Scott, you take care of yourself. And you all do the same. Local groups are being created. Do me a favor and join them. If you're not ready to lead a local group, don't. I've had too many men say that they want to lead and then they step away for varying reasons, and that's fine. Why I don't want that is, 1, it is a little frustrating. 2, more importantly, when you commit to something that you can't do, you build shame within yourself. So don't volunteer to help, and then knowing that you really can't, or you really want to, but if you absolutely can't, you're going to build shame within yourself, because you're going to be like, oh, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I'm such a piece of shit. No. Stop that nonsense. If you're not ready to lead, don't. That's okay. Just stay in the groups, talk amongst one another, and try and get together. I need leaders for these local groups, but that will come. I have to have patience too. Well, that's awesome, Jared. And there's more. I'm again, I got a lot I'm trying to do, and I can't do it all in one fell swoop, but I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, and I don't really like giving up. So I'll try things, and things will work and things won't. And it's going to take time and different efforts doing different things, but we're going to build a place for men going through divorce that will ensure that men going through this are not alone. And so if you can help in that, please do. If you can't, at least just join the groups and give and participate when you're able. So I think that's all I got. I don't think there's anything else I want to cover. I will edit and put this out, I guess, in totality. I don't feel like editing it, and I'm sure there is some stuff in here that people won't be able to understand because they're not seeing all the comments. But I encourage you to go on YouTube, and you can watch it there eventually. So that is all I got. Thank you very much, all of you, for attending. If you need help at any point, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can go to the website, Rising Phoenix Divorce Coach, if you have any interest in the program I've created. The few fellas in here that have gone through it and or going through it, I do think it's a good fucking program, and it does help. But if you're not interested in that, you can also find links to the Discord, to the podcast, to local groups, and to the Divorced Men's Network website, which has a whole host of shit, including some of the things that I previously mentioned. So that's it. I'm out. Much love. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Thank you to Nick Coyle and Lifer for allowing me to use their song, Born Again, which you're hearing now and at the intro to the podcast. Thank you to Justin Dillahanty and all of my brothers at the Alpha Code. Please visit the website, risingphoenixpodcast.com, to connect with me and other like-minded men who are looking to thrive and grow after their divorce. And remember to surround yourself with people who add value to your life, who challenge you to be greater than you were yesterday, who sprinkle magic into your existence like you do to theirs. Life is not meant to be done alone. Find your tribe. Take care.